So, welcome once again. We are in the final phase, and today we will go to the last stage from where we can have a complete understanding. Now, yesterday we were talking about the removal of the memories one after another. That is, in the sense, one brick by brick, we should remove so that the building totally collapses. If the bricks are removed, the building collapses. Same way, if the memories are removed, the mind will collapse. Because the mind is a storage of all the memories, as we have seen, both in psychological mind and of course in the intellectual mind. But we are not going to touch the intellectual mind at all, because it is not a cause for any concern at all. It is not a cause for any conflict which happens in the outer world. It only helps us to complete the jobs, do things in a more efficient way, and helps you. The knowledge, the intellect helps you to carry out the activities, to carry out your action, whatever you are planning, without any emotional content involved at all. Just by utilization of the intellectual mind will not by itself cause any conflict in the society at all, among the people at all. The interpersonal relationship between people will be ideal, because there are no emotional content, there is no psychological content as far as the intellect or knowledge is concerned. But indirectly, it may promote a sense of ego within you. That is a different issue altogether. But by knowledge itself, the knowledge stored in the form of memories by itself, by themselves, they will not cause any harm to anyone. So we will leave it at that. We will not touch about that. We will try to utilize it as much as possible in the outer world. And again, the knowledge which you have got, the intellect, it should not be used to interfere with the psychological world at all. It should not give a false impression that by intellect we will be able to purify the psychological mind. That will not happen, and that should not be made to happen also. Even, in fact, there should be no attempt also to do that. There should be no attempt. The intellect is pure, it is intellect, it is used only for the external world, for all its actions. But the intellect should never be used to purify the mind or to regulate your emotions. Nothing. It cannot happen. It is just impossible, next to impossible. So if you understand that, then one part of it will be cleared. So what should we do then in order to purify the mind? What we call it as, in simple terms, as purification of the mind. You see, to tell you the truth, the purification of mind is not required, because the mind is already pure, the innocent. It is flawless. It's already there within us. So, when the mind is already pure, then where is the question of purifying it again? What we are trying to do is to remove the external, the dirt or the garbage which has accumulated over the pure mind. The accumulated psychological memories are the ones which cover the pure mind. Since it is enormous, the existence of the pure mind itself is totally forgotten, and in fact is not even thought of. It is not even thought of that all the people in the world have a pure mind. Instead, what is being projected is that we have to purify the mind, and there are people with a bad mind, and there are people with a good mind, and that sort of division is created, and that is how people are misled. People are misled. There is nothing like a bad mind or a good mind. There is nothing like a bad thought or nothing like a good thought. All thoughts are equally bad, because they come out of the psychological mind, which is by itself, it is artificial. When something comes out of the artificial and something comes out of the false, then how the thought will be pure in its nature? So the thought itself is the villain, and the thought comes out of the psychological mind. That is what we have seen. So there is the division of people saying that he is a good man, he is a bad man, he is half good, half bad, he is a cunning man, he is a venomous man. All these sort of things are nonsense. Nonsense. All the people are pure by themselves. Only thing is the occupation of the psychological mind has made them to perform whatever they are doing now. That mind alone is a culprit. The mind which they had accumulated over a period of time has made them to function away from the pure mind. So in effect what happens is, in effect the minds are always pure, all are pure. And a pure mind doesn't create any problem at all, both for ourselves and both for the other people. So half the problems of the world will be solved if all of us know the existence of the pure mind and act according to the pure mind. Not the artificial mind which we have accumulated, with which we have identified ourselves so long. Half the problems of the world will be solved. Half the psychological problems of the man will be solved. There will be no conflict in the world. There will be no division in the world. People will not live in pockets of islands. Each group lives on an island, a religious group, a political group, a caste group, a national group, all that. Rich group, poor group, so many. So all of them living in small islands by themselves. That is how the society is made. But when we know the existence of the pure mind, and with the absence of the psychological mind, there will be no islands at all. It will be a continuous region. If all the islands are united together, what will happen is the landmass will become united. It's a uniform landmass. There are no islands at all, because from on the islands only we fight with each other. Each one fights, sitting in his own island, he fights the people with other islands. When it is made continuous, then there is no question of division at all. All become one. The entire world becomes one. That is what in our culture says, it is Vasudeva Kutumpam. That is, the entire world is one. Entire world is one. And that's why they say in Tamil also, it is also said that Yadumure Yavaram Kelir. All the places are mine. Everything is one. All the places, countries, places, towns, cities, villages, all are one. And Yavaram Kelir, that means all are relatives. All the people are relatives. Then if all the people are relatives, where is the question of division at all among them? This is what was told some 2000 years back in the Tamil saints. So, what is effectively required is dismantling of the psychological mind. Now, one way is what I said, what we saw was to remove one after another the memories. But that is not easily possible, because the memories can never be removed. But what we can do is we can make it possible for the memory to get itself erased. You see, you create a way by which the memory itself dies. We don't need to do anything. We don't need to kill it. What is the way? The way is, do not, please remember, do not think. This may cause you some surprise. If you say that, what do you mean by do not think? It is only because of thinking all these things have happened in the world. And all the scientific and technological advancements have been made because people thought. The thinking happened. Now, it is partly true. It is not fully true. Yes, they thought they were thinking and all that, and they thought, and then they produced something, inventions and all that. It's okay. I don't say no, but it is only partial. It is not where. See, we'll come to that next. But what I am saying is, do not think in the psychological mind. Okay. If you do not think in the that is, see, as we have seen earlier, the memories get more and more strengthened in the memory bank, if we start recalling the memories again and again, because of our repeated recalls, the memory gets strengthened. By itself, it will not get strengthened. Only when we recall and then think over them, then they get strengthened. And suppose if we do not recall, then the strength comes down. If we do not recall at all, not even once, then it dies. The memory dies. This is a fact. This is one of the beauties of creation. The memory is made to die by itself because of a certain factor. What is that factor? Not to think about it. That is why we say do not think. Do not think in the psychological mind. That means whenever you do not recall and think over a particular matter, that matter will die after some time. Because you are not given any fuel to that memory at all. By recalling, you are giving a fuel so that it survives and gets strengthened. So, but if you do not, then it goes off automatically. After some time, it dies. This is what happens for all the memories which we have stored right from the childhood. All. So, the self-destruction of memory happens because of the nature of creation of our human body and mind. It is nature. The memories will get erased by themselves. But they don't get erased because we go on repeatedly recalling them and thinking over them again and again and again. Then they become strengthened and they refuse to die. They are always there. So that means you have kept them for the purpose of interacting with the people, and where by your action you divide them. You divide. You cause conflict. You cause division because that mind is there. If the mind has been allowed to die by itself with all memories, that is in the psychological mind, then there is no question of any conflict at all. Because there, in the mind, psychological mind only, all the identifications exist, all the attachments exist, all the biases and prejudices exist, everything exists. Because of that only the conflict happens. So if there are no memories, there is no conflict, no images, nothing, we deal afresh. Everything as a fresh, everybody as a fresh man dealing with us. So there is no need, no necessity of any conflict arising out of it at all. So the mind has got a built-in mechanism by which existing memories over a period of years, they get deleted by themselves without even bothering about it. So that is one aspect we have to clearly show. So that is why I said don't think. If you do not think, that means if you do not recall, the memories will get deleted over a period of time because we are not thinking about them or recalling about them. In which case they lose their energy, life energy, and they go die. This is how it happens. So don't recall. Don't recall. Don't think. Don't think in a psychological manner. Then you, as you said, how will I survive if I don't think? Yeah, I said no. You can survive only by recalling your intellectual mind. Psychological mind has given you only conflicts and divisions. It is because by its own nature they do that. They do cunning things, they do negative things, everything it does psychological. But the intellectual mind is not like that. There is pure knowledge. So with that knowledge mind, you can operate in the life, in the society. You can operate without any problem. So there is no need to have any fear that if you lose the psychological mind, then we will not be able to function and all that. Masters have lost their psychological mind and they have lived forever. So that is a sort of unwanted sort of anxiety for people to think that if I stop, thinking, or if I lose my mind, it is going to create a problem in my day-to-day life. Nothing of the sort. Your life will move as it is. The society will function as it is. So it is not going to have any effect at all. So that is why I said don't think. That is one aspect. Youngsters particularly, please remember the amount of tension and conflict and stress and all that are directly related to your thinking. Directly related to your thinking. Because whatever you are unable to face, what you do is you start thinking over it again and again. For instance, you have a target to achieve and you are not achieved, or you are likely to lose, you are likely not to achieve the target. So your boss shouts at you, scolds you, uses these words, that. So all these things happen. Okay. But now, when we do not take them into account at all, by keeping them in our heart, all those sort of accusations and all that, then if you don't keep them in the mind, then it won't have any effect on you at all. There will be an effect, minor effect to the extent, yes, I have not done my job, so he is fighting, he is shouting at me. That's all. But you don't remember it word by word, whatever he said and whatever is told to you. So the psychological mind will be lost if you do not recall, and it will remain in the background, and we will be able to function with our own intellectual mind, and the psychological mind will be replaced by the cosmic mind. That is our inner pure mind, unadulterated, innocent, uncluttered mind, without any movement of thoughts. In the psychological mind, there is always thoughts are there. Thoughts go on running in the background, and we are unable to concentrate on anything, and it saps our energy. It absorbs all the energy. The thinking, mental thinking is not just like that. It absorbs your energy. That is why when you have so much of things running in your mind all the time, you become more and more tired, because it takes energy out of you. So what do we do is, if you avoid thinking, then your energy levels will be up. It will not come down. That is why it is said that do not think. If you think, then there will be a lot of movement of the thoughts in the mind, and that movement of thoughts in your mind always absorbs energy from your body, and you become more and more tired. In the result, you are not able to perform in a 100% efficient manner. This is how it happens. This is as far as the work is concerned, but as far as the life is concerned, if thinking happens, then you are unable to take any positive decisions which will not create any harm to anybody, which will create only happiness. But you are not able to take a decision because these thoughts run in your mind. The psychological thoughts go on running. So the amount of mental sickness in people happens to the extent of their level of thinking. If they think, go on, see, there are people who continuously go on thinking throughout the day. They will not have rest at all. Even if they sit idle, they will start thinking about something. If they eat, then also they will start thinking. When they walk on the road, they will go on thinking. So throughout the day, they go on thinking. What happens is, it spoils your body. It absorbs your energy, and you are unable to you are left with nothing to complete your job. That sort of thing happens. So what we do is, we do not think at all. We do not need to think at all. Whenever action is required, it can be done only with the help of an intellectual mind, and with the help of external people who are experts in their own field, so who will be able to assist you. This is one aspect. The youngsters can face the life without undergoing this sort of serious disorders of depression, tension, stress, and all that, if they can go through it, provided they stop thinking in the psychological mind. They should stop thinking in the psychological mind. If they do that, then the mind will become free, and your mental sickness will go away, and you will be almost a free bird without any tension in your inner. This has to be practiced. This has to be practiced on a day-to-day basis, and it is not a very difficult one. You see, if at all people are advising that you should go for a meditation, you should go for this particular practice, yogic practice, or you should go for this sort of breathing techniques. All those methods, techniques, and all that, they take away a considerable amount of your time. And only with that sort of spending your time, then only you will be able to achieve something there in that particular field. You have to be on continuously, go on doing it continuously again and year after year. Then only there will be some sort of positive results. But here in this particular path, what happens is you get an instant relief. You get an instant relief because you are made to understand yourself. You are made to understand yourself. If it happens, then you will be peaceful. This is experienced personally, and it is being said. So one aspect is, as we saw, was do not think at all. Your tension will disappear. Your depression will disappear. Your anxiety will disappear. Everything will be disappearing, and you will become a normal person. You will become a normal person. So this is the first method by which you can reduce your internal stress and tension. We will see in the next video as to how to go about in the second step. Thank you.